Revolutionary African leader Thomas Sankara built 350 schools, roads and railways, increased literacy by 60%, vaccinated 2.5 million kids, gave land to the poor, and planted 10 million trees. And he did this without taking one loan from the IMF and World Bank.
Néocolonialisme, les élèves réactionnaires, les élèves indisciplinés, paresseux.
But Thomas Sankara is just one in a million, because many African leaders would rather spend on their lavish motorcade, their fancy lifestyle, and their private jets. You see, so to the extent that when they want to build a tiny bridge, they need the IMF to give them loans. And the IMF is always willing to help, but with some strings attached.
IMF, World Bank, all other institutions, they make African countries jump through hoops. Loans will never be able to pay. The US, when they borrow money, they're getting it in 1.5, 1.9 interest rate. Africans, when they get the same amount of money, they're paying 9, 10%. The people who don't need a break, they get a break. The ones who need a break, they don't get a break. The sheer survival of the World Bank, IMF, is based on the fact that African countries and many other developing countries do not succeed. Their success is based on our failure.
Now let's look at the role the IMF played in the devaluation of Naira and the steps they've taken to make sure that things get even worse, shall we? When Nigeria's demand for dollar exceeds available supply, automatically the Naira will fall against the dollar. So for the past couple of years, CBN has been paying the difference. So when Nigeria's demand for dollars exceeds the available supply, CBN goes into the banking reserves or to the bank's treasury and pay the difference. So that way, the Naira stays pegged at 360. So for the past 3 years, the IMF has been saying to the CBN, no, stop saving the Naira. Allow the Naira to fall in value, rather than saving it. And that led the President Buhari to state in 2016 that the IMF will wait for a long time for Nigeria to devalue its currency. Rather, he embraced Chinese loans and completely avoided IMF because he knew fully well that the IMF will ask for Naira to be devalued. Then coronavirus happens and a fall in oil prices. And Nigeria has no choice but to go beg IMF for a loan. $3.4 billion. That's how much Nigeria had to borrow from the IMF. IMF claims it's just an innocent loan with no strings attached, and it's just a 1% interest rate. But that's a technical lie because IMF gave 3 subtle conditions that can be disastrous if Nigeria fully implements all of them. So the first condition was to devalue the Naira. In fact, IMF took the decision and the liberty to devalue the Naira themselves when they gave the loan. They gave the loan at $1 to 389 Naira. That means they devalued the Naira on their own without, agreeing with the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Central Bank of Nigeria was forced to comply almost a month later, and that's why there was no announcement and everything was looking a bit staggered. So the second criteria is exchange rate unification. In Nigeria, there are many windows to buy and sell dollars. You can buy from the parallel market, you can buy at interbank rates, or you can buy at foreign and investors exchange rates.
The amount that businessmen will change their dollars for businessmen like Dangote is not the same as a regular person, So the businessmen get a discount, but the regular guys do not. So what IMF is suggesting is that we unify these exchange rates into one. It has an advantage, where people cannot buy and sell dollar for profits, but it also has a disadvantage that when there is inflation, it's going to affect businesses from getting exchange rates for cheaper prices, and this in turn will affect the prices of goods and services.
So the final criteria was to remove FX restrictions on imports. There are 41 items that has foreign exchange restrictions to enable Nigeria to grow its local industry. Now, IMF wants Nigeria to remove all those restrictions so that goods can pour into the country unabated. Now, this is a policy that is definitely not going to do Nigeria any favors, So IMF have claimed that this loan is a rapid financing instrument to help Nigeria deal with COVID-19, but they know fully well that money is going to be looted and possibly end up in foreign banks. you know. So in my opinion, if IMF really cared, they would have asked Nigeria to cut down on senators' salaries and private jets and all those lavish lifestyle that makes no sense.
IMF mission chief that led the team that worked on the emergency financial assistance package. Nigeria received a $3.4 billion loan. This is a 5-year loan at a 1% interest, and it comes with no preconditions.
So in summary, guys, we have two problems. We have an inept government who is wasteful in spending Nigeria's resources and, you know, leaves us with no choice than to go borrow from an IMF whose main objective is to keep Africa trapped in debt. I don't know what you think, but that's just what it is. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Chizoba Adiola, and in the second part, I am going to be talking about what Nigerians can do to help the Naira.